Lodes sulphureus. They're a really cool large colubrid snake. And just think about jumping onto your phone. And I have the only 3 in the whole country right now. So you can see these pictures are a modified part of the leaf that catches in.
So normally this is a channel about koi fish, but it's also a channel about ponds.
So we're hanging out with Zach. This is his greenhouse, and he is the only other guy in the state of Utah I know who fiberglassed the block pond.
Yeah, yep.
If I had known you back then when you were fiberglassing your pond, I would have gladly said good luck.
Yeah. We're the only 2, I don't know, crazy or stupid enough to fiberglass our own ponds.
Yeah,
but it's worked out great, you know. I'm happy I did it now.
No, I have 0 regrets about doing it.
Yeah.
And I'd probably do it again if I built another pond. But...
yeah, same. I don't know if my girlfriend would help me this time, but I might have to recruit some other help. But yeah, it's definitely worth it.
I'm just curious, did you have the scent of polyester resin just like burned into your nose for like weeks?
Yeah, I would be like at work wearing totally different clothes. Like there's no way the scent followed me and I would still just randomly smell it all the time. Yeah, it was horrible.
This is like a very big question, but like why the greenhouse?
Okay, so yeah, that's a big question and probably gonna get a big answer.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've been, just a little background I guess of myself. I've been into like aquarium keeping, like freshwater, saltwater, everything in between. I've been into vivariums and reptiles and amphibians and stuff ever since I was like, well, as long as I can remember, basically. I always had this dream when I was like a teenager. I was keeping all these different reptiles in aquariums, and I always had this dream of like a big vivarium that you could walk into, you know? So the dream was to turn a bedroom into one eventually when I owned my own house, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And slowly over the years, that dream spiraled out of control, and I got to a
just
point
got
in
bigger?
life. Yeah, basically I got to a point in life where I was like, I just want to do it, but it's not going to be a bedroom, you know? And I came across the greenhouse idea, and I was like, that's unreasonable. It costs too much to heat and stuff, you know? It's not possible. I started researching stuff and just decided like, hey, I think it actually is possible. So I think this weekend I'm going to rent a skid steer and just do it. And that's where we're at. But it's always been a dream of mine because I'm just like, I'm a total dork for like behaviors within species, you know? So I love keeping species of animals, but like keeping them in a very basic enclosure, I just get super bored of it super fast. It's not entertaining to me. I like to see how things interact with their environment around them. Mm-hmm. And I always wanted to see how things interact with other species around them. But back when I was a teenager into reptiles and stuff, that was like a taboo thing. You did not cohabitate animals. That was like a big no-no. But I always suspected if done properly, it could be done and everything could be healthy and live great lives. But I was inexperienced. I was just listening to other people, you know? And then finally I got to the point with the greenhouse idea where I was like, you know what, I think it is possible, and I think I'm gonna try it. I've been keeping long enough. I know what I'm doing. I have more experience than most of these people. I think it's possible if done properly. So that's basically what the greenhouse is rather than an enclosure for an animal or a group of animals, I'm trying to replicate an environment in which the animals live in.
Like an actual little ecosystem.
Yep. And for me, that's where I can see the most like interesting behaviors, because things have so much to interact with in here, and there's other species and stuff, so it's really interesting to me, and that's what I really enjoy. And then it also gives me the chance to do like educational work, like people that wouldn't ever travel to a tropical greenhouse can come here and see a rainforest, you know, or a simulation of a rainforest and learn about them and why they need to be protected, you know. So there's a lot of good things that can come out of it, but it is an absolute pain in my butt sometimes, you know.
Creating this environment, something else I've wondered about the greenhouse, because this is how I feel about my pond.
Yeah.
So when I started building my pond, I just looked at this crater I dug in my backyard.
Yeah.
And was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? This thing is massive. But now that it's almost finished, I think it'll be finished this spring or summer, I look at it and I go, man, this thing could have been like 10 or 12,000 gallons instead of 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever feel that way about the greenhouse? Like, if you were to go back, would you be like, we're going to push it another 10 feet that way?
So I will say I've felt that way about every project I've ever done for anything in my life. The greenhouse is the one where I feel like I would love it to be bigger, but with what I had and the space I had available, the money I had available, just with everything, I feel like I did actually as good as I possibly could have. So, and when I was first building it, I was like pushing the limits of everything. Like I was like, no, I think we can go, like the code says we can go 6 inches closer to the fence. And the hole wasn't quite dug, and everybody that was helping me was like, dude, it's 6 inches, it doesn't matter. And I was like, no, it matters. So I really was aware that that was going to be a problem early on, so I pushed the limits like as much as I possibly could. So with the resources I had, I'm pretty happy with what I did, but of course I would love to go bigger, and someday I would love to build another one that's much bigger than this, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, you let me know. I'll come by and film you while you're doing it.
Yeah, see, that works.
I'm kidding. I'll bring a shovel.
Yeah, I'll make him work either way.
I'll lay a couple blocks.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I won't help you fiberglass.
Yeah, nobody. I'm gonna be here fiberglassing by myself, and it's gonna be like a 20,000 gallon pond next time, you know. So I'll be here for weeks.
Oh, no, I'd help you fiberglass a 20,000 gallon pond.
Oh, what a guy!
Just to.
I'm glad we got that on video too, because I'm gonna need to look back on this
I'm editing that part out. It's not gonna be in the video. Okay, now you got some peacock bass in here. What other fish are in here?
So I have the peacock bass. I have a group of 5 of them, and they're the Fogo peacock bass, which is the Cichla marinae. So they're the ones that get the really bright red face. And then I have 3 silver arowanas. One of them is albino. And then I have a tigrinus catfish. So I used to also have a really pretty like super white black diamond stingray, but unfortunately she passed away this summer. So we are gonna get another stingray eventually, but we're just gonna wait for the right stingray. There goes the mist.
There goes the mist.
So.
It's okay, we're getting the full experience of being in your greenhouse.
Yeah, you know, being in the rainforest is not convenient, you know?
Something that's really interesting with your pond that I hadn't seen anybody do before is the under gravel suction grid. So like my pond is bare bottom, it has 3 bottom drains.
Yeah.
But yours has a suction grid, which can you talk to us a little bit more about how that works with the gravel and everything you have sitting at the bottom of the pond with the suction grid?
Yeah, so the suction grid, it's one of those things that it's really hard to research because it's kind of controversial. Most like dedicated koi people hate the idea of it, but I looked into it a lot, and I've been into aquariums since I was 12 years old, so I understand like the microbiology side of aquariums and waterscapes pretty well. So I feel like I was confident in my own ability to make my own decision on it, you know, and the concept of it works just fine to me. I think the reason that people hate it so much is because it somewhat resembles an under gravel filter that was something that in the aquarium industry in like the 90s and stuff. And it ended up being like,
I had a 10-gallon aquarium with one of those with like the little towers that came out of the sides.
Yep. And they just didn't work.
Aerator.
They basically just held a bunch of detritus, and then that built up and ended up just ammonia poisoning your whole tank eventually, you know. So they were like one of the worst filters ever. So people just have such a bad taste in their mouth about those that they think this is going to be that, but it's not. It's a whole separate thing, and it's done much better and designed much better. So I was put onto it by Eric Triplett, actually. He reached out to me on TikTok.
The pond digger.
Yep, the pond digger, yeah. So he reached out to me on TikTok and just pitched me the idea of it, and he wasn't like getting anything out of it, you know. He was literally just telling me how to do it for free. Like, wasn't trying to sell me products or anything. So I was like, all right, I should listen, because he's not trying to sell me stuff. So, you know, like there has to be something to it. So then I started researching
He's just a guy who's passionate about building ponds.
Yeah, yep. So I started researching it. Yeah, so shout out to Eric. Thank you for the help with this, because I am very happy. Like, what, 2 years later now with the under gravel suction grid, I'm still super happy with it. But basically, before I ramble for too long, it's a network of PVC pipes that lay at the bottom of the pond. So imagine like a rib cage. There's a main pipe that runs down the center this way, and then there's little ribs that come off this way. And all of those, I forgot the like size holes and the spacing, but all that stuff is really important. Eric kind of told me how to do that properly because he's experimented with this a lot.
Okay.
So the whole
You need
spacing
them
and all
small
that.
enough that they still have suction, but not so big that they. Sorry, I should let you explain.
No, you're dead on. And then you have to have like the right size gravel and stuff too. So it's one of those things where if it is done wrong, it probably will just become a big detritus trap. But basically you want to design it to where there's a certain spacing, I forgot what it is, but around each hole based on like your flow, you know, your suction.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways, it's this rib cage, and on the bottom of the pipe there's these holes drilled, and then your return pump or your main pump to your pond sucks the water through that. So it's not a backflow system like people think. It sucks it through that, and that basically acts as your pre-filter. So it's somewhat of a pre-filter, and you think like, well, if that's a pre-filter, then just a bunch of crap is going to get stuck in the gravel and break down. It's like, that's the point. The gravel bed becomes just a living media bed, because as long as it has flow and it's not becoming anaerobic, it's not going to cause
You're not
toxic
getting
poison
bad bacteria building up in it.
Yep, the goal is to have even flow throughout the gravel bed, and if you have that, then you have aerobic bacteria, which you want as much as you can possibly get in your pond. You know, it helps filter it. So I don't run any pre-filter at all in this pond. I just have the under gravel suction grid as a pre-filter. The way Eric explained it to me is, even if there is a lot of waste that goes into one spot, say that spot kind of gets clogged up, the whole bottom of the pond is a bed for that. So say one spot gets clogged up, that'll just raise the flow in all the other spots. So there'll still be filtration. And once the bacteria do their job and kind of loosen that up and break it down, then it'll all of a sudden get sucked through, and that spot will get cleared up, you know, and the bacteria can do their job in the other spots. So the chances of the whole system clogging up is like almost nothing. It's almost impossible, you know. So
Okay.
originally planned on doing a bare bottom pond as well, just because for water quality purposes and stuff, it seems like the best. But I'm trying to make everything in here look really naturalistic, you know. That's my goal. And the idea of having no substrate was killing me, you know. This basically gave me a way to not have to buy an expensive pre-filter and find room for it, and to have substrate in the pond to help it keep a more naturalistic look.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm happy with it still. It's worked out great for me. Yeah, well, so no promises. These guys don't always go crazy for pellets. I feed them mostly like tilapia and shrimp and stuff, but they might. Oh, they're like pretty mellow today. Sometimes this is like SeaWorld splash zone, you know. There they go. Yeah, so you can imagine when they're eating shrimp and tilapia, it's like a lot worse than that. They go absolutely crazy.
Oh.
If you look, it might be hard to see on film, but down there under the log is the Tigrinus catfish.
Oh yeah, there he
that's
is.
Cool, little zebra striped catfish. He may come out and start swimming around once he smells the pellets. So this was all brick at one point.
Yeah.
It's just a cinder block pond, and we used this cork material.
It looked like mine does right now.
Yeah. We used this cork material and a mixture of rocks to kind of make it this naturalistic wall. And that is the plan for all the way around the greenhouse. Hopefully in the next couple months, like all the exposed cinder block and stuff is going to get covered up and look really similar to this pond wall.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, so that'll help just with the aesthetics in here a lot. The block like drives me crazy. Every time I come in, everything looks all natural and my eyes just go right to the block. But
well, you know what, Zach, seriously though, something I really appreciate about your greenhouse are the details with the plants and things. I think a lot of people, well, maybe even me, I'll be honest, I get excited about seeing the animals and the environment that they're living in, but for some reason the plants, other than them being full and gorgeous, I don't really think about it too much.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. I think that's one of the reasons I like obsessed over the greenhouse idea, I think, because I've never been able to specialize in just one thing, you know? Like I try to get into certain species of snake, I get bored of it. I try to get into this, I get bored of it. So I've been at some point into like everything in here, the plants, the amphibians, you know, everything. But I've never been able to just specialize in one thing. And I realized in my late 20s, like what my specialty is like the ecosystem, how everything interacts in it and combines as one whole unit, you know? So that's what really interests me. So that's why I think like I am the person to build this, is because I really like basically all the different hobbies. I like when they combine. I don't like when they're separate. I get just super bored of it fast. So yeah, it's fun. And it's fun when I go travel places, because like if I'm out looking for snakes and stuff and we're having a rough night not finding snakes, everybody else is all bummed. And I'm like, oh, a plant. Oh, a bug. Oh, I just get like, I'm like a little kid. I just get interested by everything.
I hand feed my koi all the time. I have a feeling though that hand feeding your koi, or I mean hand feeding your fish, takes on a different meaning.
Yeah.
If you stick your hand in there.
Yeah, you can try it though. I think it'd be a good idea for you to try it. I don't think I want to, you know. I've done it plenty enough, but yeah, these fish are monsters. They're not the nicest guys in the world. The arowana especially will bite the crap out of your fingers. So like you can see, like look, they just come right over. They just want problems. See this guy? He'll just sneak, see, right there.
All of a sudden he'll speed up.
So yeah, he'll sneak up all close and then just go sideways and bite you. And they don't have like big teeth, but they have little tiny teeth. But these guys are big enough now that they'll draw blood. It's like gnarly, like road rash all over. So.
Dude, I like your internal skimmer.
Yeah, it works good for in here. If it was like a large outdoor pond that had like a bunch of leaves and stuff falling in it, you know, it might not be the best option. It's a bit undersized for this pond. But in here, I don't have leaves and stuff falling in here. So it really works like great for me. It's just a nice hidden way to do it.
How many gallons is this?
So this pond is about 2,000 gallons.
Okay.
I think it's like right over 2,000 gallons if it's all the way full, you know, which I do keep it pretty full. Yeah, so it's about 2,000 gallons and it's pretty high flow too. I guess we can talk about the filtration and stuff in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we move on to that, one thing that we're working on this summer is you can see we started getting some plants like in the back and around the pond. Don't worry about this one, that one's not doing too good right now. But we're gonna build basically like a bog planter bed. So I'm gonna build custom planter boxes about this big, and they're just gonna line the whole shore of the pond. And then I'm gonna fill them with really cool like rare tropical water plants and rheophytic plants and stuff. So we're gonna simulate a shoreline, and that'll hide all the pipe work in the back and everything, and it'll kind of make it more natural looking, because it's really hard to make an above ground brick pond look natural, you know, like it's really difficult, but that's like one of my goals in here. So
I mean, that's why with mine I just leaned into not doing that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love all the plants I have in the bog of mine.
Yeah,
because I did want something that felt more natural but nah.
Well, and even just for like the filtration aspect of it, like having some plants is always worth it, you know. But so that's
all those nitrates.
Yep. So we're gonna do that. So basically the whole edges will be lined with cool plants. Like those ones that are in the back will get all the way, they'll cover this whole enclosure, you know, and everything will vine all over. So eventually the whole back wall will also just be plants, and it'll completely hide all the pipework and make it look more natural in here. And then also all the roots from the plants hanging down into the water will create structure, because I'm going to try something kind of unheard of in here. With monster fish like peacock bass and stuff, they eat everything. You can't put smaller fish in with them. But now that they're getting bigger, and once I get all the plants and extra structure in there in this big space, I'm going to try to do a massive school of like 400 smaller fish. Because I have a suspicion that the peacock bass won't go out of their way to chase small fish that are barely even a meal. And if the fish have a big enough space and a big enough group, they can actually school how they would in the wild. They can avoid predators similar to how they would in the wild. So it's either going to be a really expensive and sad mistake, or it's going to be the first like monster fish pond that also has small schooling fish. Dude, I think it's going to work. I'm like pretty confident.
I have this box net.
Yeah.
I just a thought. I have a box net that you could put in here that would like box off part of the pond with those fish.
Yeah.
If you wanted to put them in the environment and let them get used to where they are first.
Yeah, no, I would totally be down to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to borrow that from you for sure.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome. Yeah, so I'm thinking, I don't know for sure, but I'm probably going to do gold tetras in here. And I'm going to start with like 300 or 400 of them and put them in here. Because that's another thing to me. I'm obsessed with stuff looking natural. Having just a pond with just big, massive fish doesn't look natural. In the wild, you see tiny little fish everywhere and then a couple big fish, you know? So I think having the monster fish with like a tight packed school of small fish. Yeah. And I also think having the monster fish in here will have the small fish school tighter, because they'll actually have a reason to, but they'll probably just stay like around the driftwood and around the plant's roots and stuff like that in a little school. And I think that would be really awesome. So I'm going to try that eventually, but we got to get all the plants in here first. Give them a fair shot, having some nice little hiding places and stuff.
Yeah, lots of roots, lots of
yeah. I considered even putting some like red mangroves in over on that side. So I have like some mangrove trees with all the mangrove roots down in the pond. I think that'd be super sweet. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I always like have a plan and then it changes 10 times by the time I actually do it. So
Arowanas will jump, won't they?
Yeah. So that's the reason we have this big enclosure built all the way around the pond, is arowanas will jump out and kill themselves, unfortunately.
Let me step back a little bit so that we can actually see what this enclosure looks like.
Yeah. So like you need, typically when you keep arowana, you need a lid on the aquarium or something. But I didn't want to put a lid or a net over this because I'm trying to keep it natural looking. So my solution was this big, huge enclosure, and then it has this door that gets kind of jammed up sometimes. But so when I'm not here, this is what the pond looks like. When we're not here filming videos or feeding fish, it's got a full enclosure around it. And this also keeps all the tree frogs and lizards and stuff from going in here.
Everybody from becoming a snack?
Yeah, because basically if any other animal touches the water in here, it's gone. Like these fish.
Excuse me, Zach. Can I please not be a snack?
Like these fish will eat it for sure. But
man,
so this is like a way I can keep everybody safe, but I can still enjoy it when I'm over here and stuff.
Yeah, Zach, talk to us about the filtration system.
So we got the under gravel suction grid. We already talked about that. So basically we've got the under gravel suction grid and then the little no niche hidden skimmer back there. So it comes in from those and then it runs to my artesian pump, which I can't remember exactly, but it's about 5,000 gallon per hour. So that is one thing, is I did not want to
What is that in liters?
Hell if I know. You're gonna have to ask a Brit, you know. But I didn't want to underdo the flow with the under gravel suction grid, you know. And with predator fish, I'm a fan of more flow is better to an extent anyways. But so it goes there, runs into the pump, and then it runs right here into my Evolution Aqua K Plus filter. So that's just a K Plus pressure filter, which I will say, not gonna bash them too much or anything, but you can see the lid on the top is leaking. And this is the second one in 2 years that I've had to buy. That lid is like $100 and they keep just cracking. And I've reached out to Evolution about it and they keep just telling me they don't know why it does that. And then I have to buy a new one. So
there's not like a warranty?
No, so the first time they did send me one. And then the second time they just never got back to me. They just completely ignored all my emails. So,
you know, I'm Aqua to send me things one day. I'm not going to put any of this in the...
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
No, I'm joking.
I will say that overall, I really do like that filter. Like, I was super happy with it. Just the lid is a frustrating thing. And I don't know if it's because I have oversized the pump. So I'm running like more gallons per hour. So I don't know what the deal is with it, but it's frustrating. But I may eventually change this out. I don't know. I'll talk about that later. But so it goes through there and then it runs off to a UV filter. A super oversized UV filter, which I am a big fan of.
Another Evolution Aqua?
Yep, another Evolution Aqua. So no issues with that. I love that thing. Keeps my water crystal clear, no green at all. And then it splits off and part of the water runs through our heat pump right here. So this is a heat pump that heats and cools the pond, because the pond is tropical predator fish. I keep it at roughly 80 degrees year round. So that is how I do it, is with the heat pump. One thing that I probably will do differently, I'm probably going to change this in the future, maybe this summer, but I may run the heat pump outside and just run the plumbing through the wall, so I don't have the heat pump in here, because like when it's heating the pond, it blows cold air. Right. So it's like super annoying.
It's how the thermodynamics of it works.
I just didn't really think about that, and it makes it inefficient, you know. But I was worried that the heat pump wouldn't work good enough in the cold weather. Yeah, but so I don't know. I want to experiment with it, you know. Worst kind of worst, it doesn't work and I can move it back in. But this thing like never runs at more than like 30%. It like heats and cools the pond super efficiently. It works way better than I ever expected it to. Yeah. So I honestly think that even being outside in the cold, it would still work perfectly fine. Could be wrong.
Actually, you know, I haven't heard this thing kick on once while we've been in here.
Yeah, no, it kicks on like twice a day. And it, like I said, we're like 20-30%, because it shows on the screen like the percentage of power it's using, and it's never 100%, unless I did a huge water change with cold water or something, you know. But yeah, no, it works super well now. And another thing
I've thought about, because I really want to get a heat pump one day.
Yeah,
I would love to be able to. Seriously, right now, your pond with this heat pump, even though we live in a climate where, like, what's the temperature today? Like in the high teens or something?
Yeah, something like that. Last week was like 8 degrees.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the fact that your water is consistently at what, like 70?
Yeah, it's basically 78 to 81 year round. It does not change from that, unless I choose to change it.
If you wanted to grow koi for growth, you have the perfect setup to be able to do that year round. There's a lot that goes into conditioning koi. I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk about koi. That's not why we're here.
You're good.
It's just awesome, your pond and the whole way you have it set up.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed with it. Hey, it's me, here in my shed. I had a ton of fun hanging out with Zach and getting to explore the greenhouse with him. Now, that wasn't in this video, because this is just the first half. The video was just getting so long I realized, nope, we're gonna break this up into a two-part thing, because there was just too much to cover and I didn't want to cut too much out. But next video, we're gonna talk about Zach's exploration into the Amazon. He got to spend some time down in Senegal and was in one of the most remote places I think I've ever heard of somebody going to. And he also gives us a full tour of his greenhouse where we get to meet Frogbert, all of his animals. He goes through how it's cool. It's so cool. I wanted that to be in this video. It was just getting too long. So anyways, if you haven't had a chance to go check out A Life Exotic yet, go check out Zach's channel. That next video is going to be right here, unless it's not, because I haven't made it yet, in which case you can check out one of my other videos over here. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Bye.